In the last video, we have seen how to read the contents of the file using Python. In this video, we'll see how to write into the files using various functions that are supported by Python. As we already discussed, it is required to open a file before performing either the read or the write operations. Now we are going to write contents to the files. Before performing the write operation, it is required to open the file. So now let's open the file using the open method. We know that the open method takes two arguments. The first argument must be the file to which you are going to write into. Second argument represents the mode that represents the operation you are going to perform on the file. So here our required operation is the write operation. So the mode that supports the writing into the file is either you can use A or you can use X or you can use W. W stands for writing, A stands for appending, and X stands for the creation of the file and then write into the file. When we open the file in the W mode, so now what happens is if the sample.txt file is already existing, then the contents of the existing file will be overwritten by the contents that we are going to write into the file. If the file is not available, then the file will be created for you. When you open the file using the W as a mode, then the file pointer is always placed at the beginning of the file. Now the file is opened, so the file pointer is stored in the variable fp. Now you can use the write operation and you can write something into the file. To write some content into the file, Python supports the write method, so which takes one argument. Whatever the content that you would like to write into the file, that content has to be passed as a string argument to the write method. We are using the write method, so to write 2 lines of code to the file sample.txt. Once the writing is done, then you need to close the file. As we already discussed, it is very much important to close the file after completion of all the operations on the files. Now let's execute this and see. On execution, you cannot see any output. So the thing is, you are writing content into the file. So you need to open the file and see whether the operation is done or not. To check whether the operation is done or not, you need to open the file and see. So here the file is sample. This is the file to which we have written. The file is opened. So here you can see, so 2 lines of text is written into the file sample.txt. So this is how Python supports writing operation into the files. You just need to open the file using the open method, then use the write method to write something into the file. Then after finishing the writing operation, you just close the file using the close method. Now let's assume that the sample.txt is already existing. So now the file is already created and it is available. So now I would like to write some content to the same file. Then what happens, we'll see now. Now I'm going to write 3 different lines of text to this file using 2 different write statements. Now let's run this code and see. So the code is executed. Now let's open the sample file and see. So you can see here, as the file is already existing, so the existing file content is overwritten with the new content. So whatever you are writing here, only that content is available in your file. All the existing content will be removed. So that is how, when the mode is set to W, then if the file is already available, then the contents will be overwritten with the new content. If the file is not available, then a new file will be created for you. When W mode is used to open the file, then the file pointer is set to the first character of the file. So now let's use the A mode to open the file and to write contents into the file. Now I am going to open the same file sample.txt and I am going to open the file in the A mode. Here A stands for the appending mode. So whenever the file is opened in the A mode, you are allowed to write the content into the file. So A stands for append here. I am going to append some content to the file which is already available with us, that is sample.txt. Now let's run this code and see. So if you want to check what is the existing content of the file, so the file is already having 3 lines of code. Now let's execute this code and see. So now execution is done. So let's open the sample.txt file and observe. So now if you observe, there are 3 more lines that have been appended to the existing contents of the file. So that is how, when the file is opened in the A mode, so if the file is already existing, then the file pointer will be placed at the end of the file and the contents will be appended to the existing file. If the file is not existing, then the file will be created for you for writing. So now let's change this file name to sample1.txt, and if you observe, this file sample1.txt is not available. Now let's run this code and see what happens. You can see that the code is executed without any issue. So now you can see, so sample1.txt file is created for you. So if the file is not available, a new file is created for you for writing. And whatever the contents you are trying to write using the write method, all those contents will be written to the file. And finally, you are using the close method to close the file. So that is, the file is closed. So that is how you can use the W mode or the A mode to write into the file. There is another mode with the name X, which stands for the creation here. So the mode X indicates the creation of a new file. So if this file is not existing, then the file will be created, and whatever the operations that you would like to apply on that file, it is possible to apply all those operations. So here the sample1.txt is already existing. If the file is already existing, then when you try to create the file again, then it generates an error. The operation that you are trying to create the file is failed, as the file is already existing. That is how when the mode is set to X, then if you try to create the file which is already existing, then it shows an error. Say for example, I am changing the file name to sample2.txt. Now this file is not existing. The file will be created, and along with that you are writing some content into the file. Now the code is executed without any issue. So the file is created for you with the name sample2.txt, and the contents are written to the file. That is how you can use either the W mode or A mode or the X mode to write contents into the file. When you are using the W mode, then if the file is already existing, then the file contents will be overwritten and your file pointer will be placed at the beginning of the file. If the file is not existing, then a new file will be created for you and your new contents will be written to the new file. If you are trying to open the file in the A mode, that is append mode, then if the file is already existing, then the file pointer will be set to the end of the file so that your new contents will be appended at the end of the file. If the file is not existing, then the new file is created for you and your file pointer will be set at the beginning of the file. And in the case of the X mode, a file is created if it is not already existing, and the file pointer will be set at the beginning of the file so that you can write your contents to the file. If the file is already existing, the creation operation will be failed and it raises an exception. That is how you can use the open method by using either W or A or X as modes to open the file in the write mode. And you can use the write method to write some contents into the file. And after performing the write operations, so it is required to close the file using the close method. Now I hope you understand how to write contents into the file and what are the different modes that supports the write operation in Python. Thank you for watching this video.